I want to start with one, though, from our friend Florida Gator. Now, this is not to be confused with Florida Gator. This is Florida Gator, and the Gator is with an 8 there, so we appreciate them getting at us. They say undefeated Georgia versus undefeated Florida in Jacksonville. First off, this would be absolutely awesome. I would be all about this, seeing both those teams go at it. It would be box office, College Game Day would be there. Heck, we would do everything in our power to be there for this one. A lot is thought around Florida and their chances to be undefeated to get to this game. We'll talk about that. I want to make it clear, this is not a cakewalk for Georgia to be undefeated heading into Jacksonville. They open with Clemson in Atlanta. Clemson, they're feisty. They got something to prove this year. I truly believe that. They have a game at Kentucky. They're at Alabama. Another feisty game against Auburn. That one will be in Athens, but still Auburn. I mean, they gave them all they could handle, and then some in Jordan-Hare last year. You're at Texas. Like, this is going to be a climb for Georgia if they want to get to this game undefeated. Now, for Florida, they play 4 preseason ranked teams their first 7 games. They open with Miami and Gainesville. They play A&M. They're at Mississippi State, and that could be tricky, so we'll see. UCF. They play at Tennessee, another ranked team, and they play Kentucky, another preseason ranked team. So will those teams all be ranked when they play them between Miami, A&M, Tennessee, and Kentucky? We'll see. But the bottom line here is this is a gauntlet for Florida on the front and back end of their schedule. So if Georgia goes undefeated leading into this game, this just reaffirms like that Georgia is a factory. It means they were able to replace the offensive production that Brock Bowers left. Also, it means that they were able to replace the defensive production that they lost from this past season, because Georgia, as good as they are on this roster, they only bring back 55% of the production defensively from 2023. So if you're able to be undefeated and play teams like Texas, like Alabama, heck, we'll see what Auburn's going to be in this season under Hugh Freeze. I don't know. But if you're able to be undefeated heading into this game, reaffirms that Georgia, the factory effect is still in place. And Carson Beck, the way that he's probably elevated his game if they're undefeated, probably have to win a few shootouts or at least put up some solid points offensively against a team like Texas, means he elevated his game his second year as the guy at Georgia. Y'all, that is scary for the rest of college football. That is scary. That should be scary for everyone else involved, because if Carson Beck levels up even a little bit more from last season where he was 70% completion percentage on the season, watch out. Watch out, because that means Georgia is versatile, that means Georgia is dangerous, and that means Georgia can win any kind of ball game that they have in front of them. Not saying they're perfect, but I am saying it would trend towards Georgia being a force in the college football playoff when they get there. Now, if Florida starts undefeated, if they go 7-0 to start this thing, the obvious part is you can't have a major drop-off from starting 7-0, so we all understand that. But this should change the optics around how we view Billy Napier. There's a lot said about Billy Napier right now, a lot of it negative, a lot about it him being on the hot seat and what they didn't do last year. Like, if they start 7-0, this is proof that his team and roster is good enough to win. Like, he's assembled a roster that can legitimately win football games by nature of who they have to play, by nature of who they're playing against, those preseason ranked teams. And also, more importantly, not just they assembled a team that can win, they learned how to win. It's one thing to put players together on a roster. It's a whole other thing to be able to do it on a Saturday afternoon and do it consistently. It also means they have likely made some really major strides offensively from what they were a year ago. Graham Mertz, I thought, played a lot better than people want to give him credit for. They only averaged 26 points a game in 2023. There's a lot of folks that have strong opinions on Billy Napier. A lot of people would owe Billy Napier and Graham Mertz, I think, several apologies if they go undefeated to start the year. It further drives home that there is real buy-in with Billy Napier in Gainesville. We've said this for a while here, but now you have the results to legitimize that buy-in. Because from last year at least, I saw a team that continued to fight for their head coach. There's a lot of opportunities for them to pack it in. There's a lot of down points in this season that I think a lesser team or a more fragmented locker room would have given up. But for Billy Napier and this team, I saw them fight from 10 down and win in the fourth quarter against South Carolina. I saw them give Florida State all they could handle and then some. I saw a team that played for their head coach. Now, if you start winning football games the way that I think Florida would like to win football games, that legitimizes the buy-in that he's created there. That strong culture would be, I think, even further, like I just said, legitimized, because there's a lot of anti-Billy Napier headlines right now. There's a lot being said around, they need to win this many games to keep his job, and there's a lot of things on the external right now in Gainesville But if you start 7-0, that culture, the internal part of things to block out the external noise, you got to give a lot of credit to how Billy Napier has elevated that team since he's been there. So it hasn't happened yet, obviously, but if he starts 7-0 going into the world's largest outdoor cocktail party, people need to change the way they start talking about Billy Napier. So that game in itself, we would obviously predict it when it got here. That would be box office in every sense of the word, man. That would be big time, to say the least, if we get Florida and Georgia undefeated, man. That'd be just good for college football. Hey, y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.